Danny welcoming you in on 106.7 The Fan, just after 10:30. We've been telling you for a few days this was going down. Danny isn't going to completely sit this out for the next couple of segments, but in the same way that if like a comedian like Frank Caliendo or somebody was on, I would probably just watch him have a ball. This is going to be a big 30 minutes for me. So
he laid this outfit out a couple nights ago on the bed and smoothed it out a couple times. Yeah.
So first of all, I guess I want to know, am I embarrassing myself? Like I have 3 gloves here. I've already asked you guys to have a catch with me. And I'm wearing a really weird Sandlot outfit.
No.
Do people do this kind of stuff with you guys a lot and it's annoying? Or is this kind of okay with you? Are you weirded out by me? Where are we at right now in our friendship?
Well, I dig it, man. As soon as I saw it, I was like, it looks. I thought it was pajamas at first, and then when I saw the hot dogs and ham on it, I knew it was one of the cooler outfits I've ever seen.
Very cool. So this is from Roosevelt's. They do all kinds of like basically cool nostalgic outfits from movies I liked as a kid. But in studio with us right now, we've got Tom Guiry. You just heard his voice. He played Scotty Smalls in The Sandlot, and Quintin Adams, who played Quintin Adams, is with us as well. So what about your perspective so far? You hate me? You're okay with me? You'll tolerate me? Where are we at on it?
Oh, I like you, man.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, very good.
What if he was like, no, I'm out?
No, that would be heartbreaking, to be completely honest with you. Because not only was he in The Sandlot, but he was also in The Mighty Ducks.
That's right.
Which we've got to talk about.
Absolutely.
So let's start here. Why this movie, do you think? Why do you think The Sandlot? Because people forget there was a super huge run on baseball movies and kids' baseball movies in that time.
Yeah.
You had... like
Little Big League.
Little Big League was great with Billy Haywood as a manager. You had Rookie of the Year, Angels in the Outfield. We don't get any kid baseball movies anymore. There was like 4 in a 6-year span. Why was The Sandlot 25 years later the one being celebrated as iconic?
Well, I think it's because of, the friendship in the film, because that's really the bottom line of the movie, I think, and I think a lot of people can relate to it. Being an outcast or being accepted, and I think a lot of people could relate to at least one of the characters in the movie, which is what, and the whole nostalgia factor, it's kind of, I think that's why it kind of stood the test of time a little bit.
We were talking about this yesterday. I think if you're a kid my age, you love the movie because you played baseball and you wanted to be those kids out there with their buddies all day long. But if you were then a parent of a kid, you also like the movie because you're watching it with your son or your daughter, and so there's basically, unless you were like a teenager when it came out, if you're now in your 50s and 60s or you're my age and in your 30s, there's so many ages that got hit because you're probably watching with your kids. I think that's probably part of it as well in terms of it lasting.
Absolutely, and it's that's the amazing thing about it is the kids, they still watch it. The parents show it to the kids, and it just keeps going on, and like Tom said, I think there's something in there for everybody. I think everybody can see themselves in one of the characters, in there, and it's a great movie written by David Mickey Evans.
So the 25th anniversary edition of The Sandlot is now available on Blu-ray. So I've got a 4-year-old, and we're coming into that time where we're going to do this together as well. So kind of like Grant's talking about, it can kind of keep perpetuating in terms of generations. Here's where I want to give you guys a lot of credit, then I'll turn it back over to my colleague over here. A lot of people, whether they're actors or otherwise, will have an iconic project like you guys had, right? But you guys have had significant careers since then. Tom, you've been in a ton of stuff like Mystic River, Black Hawk Down, these like blockbusters. Brandon, you've done a lot as well. I give you so much credit for embracing this thing that everybody loves instead of being like, yeah, I was in The Sandlot, but come see my art house project where I'm a deaf mute that paints with his toes and can only communicate in Swedish Sign Language. Like, I love that, where people are okay with embracing the thing that they're loved for, right?
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm a fan of the movie myself. It's one of those classic movies where, I know all the lines like everybody else. It's like a good song.
Yeah. Truthfully, when I was a little bit younger, I kind of tried to steer away from it, and but then as I got a little bit older, it became to embrace it. It just, because really that's why we do what we do. People enjoy it and makes people happy. You might as well embrace it, and it's a great movie.
It is. Tom Guiry, Quintin Adams with us in studio, a couple of the actors from The Sandlot. So you guys were kids when the movie was filmed. How old were you?
I was 11.
11?
I turned 12 during the filming of the movie.
So all about the same age.
Yeah.
And now you're in your mid-30s, and you guys have become adults. You don't look like you did then, but I want to know how often today, as you're walking around, people say, Scotty Smalls. And what is the line they repeat when they come up to you?
Oh, you're killing me, Smalls.
That's the one.
all the time. Yeah, actually, it's funny because I'll either get recognized or people won't believe that it's me. So I was walking.
It's one of the two.
Yeah, I was walking in the mall one day. And it was like the first time I saw the "You're Killing Me" Smalls shirt. I was with my kids. I pointed at the guy. I go, "That's me," and he goes, "What?" I go, "That's me, man. I'm Smalls." And he goes, "Whatever, man." And just keeps why he didn't believe it was me. He had no idea it was me. Yeah, but if people see me, sometimes they just recognize me. That's really weird. It's like,
wow.
yeah.
But so on a normal day, would you say every day you get recognized as Smalls, or not that often?
Maybe once a week.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
not every
crazy.
day, but yeah.
And then how about you?
He's being humble more than that.
Really? Because when you walk around with him, you can tell.
Every day.
Really?
Every day.
How about you?
Here and there, you
Yeah.
know, every other day.
Right? Humble as well. All right, so each of you have different projects I want to hit on with you. But I do want to ask, you're all 11 or 12. I was reading last night a couple things about the filming of the movie. Apparently, you guys just played Nintendo all the time.
Yeah.
Is that correct? So did you guys all become really good friends? I mean, was everyone pretty close? You guys were all
Yeah.
kind of budding stars at the same time. And then what's the relationship like now, other than this year where you're traveling around together? 3 years ago, were you guys in touch as an example?
Well, I was Shane was the other guy from the East Coast. He was from
Right.
Florida, but I was
Who's which?
Shane
character?
was Timmy Timmons.
Okay.
Or was he Tommy?
So, Timmy and Tommy.
Timmy.
He was Timmy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but he was from Florida. I was from Jersey, so it was kind of hard to keep in contact. So I hadn't seen these guys in like 25 years.
Wow.
so-
Until this year.
until this year,
You're
and
kidding.
it was weird because within like 2 minutes of talking with them all again, it was like we were all right back in summer camp again. it was really
Yeah,
weird because
for real.
we really did bond on making the film, So it was, and we all still get along. We group text now, so we were doing our thing. So it's pretty cool.
That is, to me, that's the dream. So you guys would film, which was basically playing baseball or being at the pool or whatever it
Right.
was all day. But then tell me about this Nintendo situation. Is that what you guys just did whenever you weren't filming? Or
Yeah, it was a lot of Super Nintendo. I think it was Super Nintendo back then.
Yeah,
well,
That's
you-
the correct time frame, yes.
Yeah,
I remember you had it in your suitcase in the
Uh-huh.
airport. You were like, I got it. Yeah, you got it in the bag. Did you have the Genesis too, or just the Super Nintendo?
I had the Genesis too.
Yeah.
I had a disc, man. I was popping.
yeah, all the stuff.
So that was your first movie?
Yeah, it was my first movie.
How is that a thing that, not to say that you were the biggest star of the movie, but the movie surrounded around your character, that they're going to go, this guy's never been in a movie. Let's make him this person. In other words, you've been in Mighty Ducks. You've been in a bunch of projects. You're doing stuff with Michael Jackson, and you got all kinds of things going on. But then how did your career go from wherever it was to star of The Sandlot?
Well, it was a lot of screen tests.
Okay.
I think they sent me home, and then they brought me back, and then they sent me home and brought me back. So it was a lot of screen tests, and I don't know if they were too sure because it was my first thing, So, but I guess I just kept plugging away at it, and they threw me a bone.
Ham Porter, Squints Polidoro, couple of the famous and iconic characters of The Sandlot, a couple of the guys, Scotty Smalls and Kenny DeNunez, is in studio with us now. And then for you, so Kenny, Brandon, you were, before you played Kenny, you were in 92, you were Jesse Hall in the Mighty Ducks.
Right.
Sandlot was 93, and then you're D2 in 94.
Right.
So basically just the 3 greatest years of my film life.
Yeah, I was a pro athlete at that time, man.
I mean, you're going hockey, baseball, hockey.
You're right.
Did the guys wear you out a little bit because you're more a hockey player than a baseball player? Or what?
Yeah, they've always given me a little kind of a hard time about the Ducks thing, And the last time I saw the Sandlot guys was actually here in D.C. about a year ago. I was with the Ducks, and there was almost a brawl.
Oh,
to be
no.
honest, yeah,
So wait
yeah.
a second. Why would you have been here with the Ducks and the Sandlot guys?
It's
showed
like
up?
Sharks and the Jets all of a sudden in the streets of DC.
Why wasn't I there? 'Cause that sounds like the coolest thing ever.
We need the guy in a Sandlot shirt to take pictures.
I
just
was
like-
I was doing a signing at a sports memorabilia show somewhere out here, and I just happened to run into the Sandlot guys, man. And Marty, the big guy, he's like,
Is that him?
"What are you doing with the Sandlot?"
Marty was yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I don't know if
He's
you've
like the
seen
size of
Yeah
Lou
lately,
Ferrigno now.
man.
I haven't. No
He's
way.
a big
Yeah.
dude.
Oh, he's
Did you
yoked,
roll?
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw a picture.
Yeah.
So he's mad at you. He's
He's
like, what are you
pissed,
doing
and
with
he's
these
like,
guys?
He's like, "What are you doing with these guys?" And then the Ducks are like, "What's up with the Sandlot guys?" And I'm like, "Hey, chill."
Everyone, we can all get along. You
Right.
took your Nintendo out of your bag,
There
and you
you
guys
go.
just started
That's
playing,
how you do it, man.
and it all worked out.
You know?
Which this is so nerdy, by the way. Which Ducks guys were you with?
Oh my God.
I was with the cake eater. I was with who else? Oh man, you sprung that one.
Well, I'll
up
come
on me.
back to that.
I'm trying to think of character names actually, so you would know.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
yeah, we'll come back. We'll
Yeah,
come back.
well, I'll pull up a picture. You point them out. I'll
There
tell you
we
the
go.
character
There we
names and
go.
the story arc.
You're trying to get me in trouble here, man.
No, you're good. Brandon Quintin Adams, who played Quintin Adams in The Sandlot. Tom Guiry, who played Scotty Smalls, is with us on Grant and Danny. Another segment with these guys. We'll talk about some of the other things they've worked on, as well as what they've got planned this weekend for the All-Star festivities. They're going to be very busy as they're celebrating the 25th anniversary of The Sandlot. You're listening to The Fan. Grant and Danny on The Fan, hanging out with a couple of the characters from a legendary film from a lot of our childhoods, The Sandlot. Tom Guiry and Brandon Quintin Adams are in studio. What was your favorite either scene or moment, and it maybe when you were filming or now when you go back as a viewer, when you're watching with your kids and you watch that movie? Give me something you really think is either funny, cute, or you enjoyed, you thought it was awesome.
Well, I really enjoyed the 4th of July scene.
Yeah,
I think is my favorite scene in the movie.
definitely.
But filming wise, I loved it when we filmed the camp out scene in the treehouse, just because we were able to play off each other really well, and like I love the Squints Beast story, and then the s'more scene with Ham was
Squint's
a lot of
Beast
fun.
story is the four.
That's a great scene.
All
And-
that is scripted, or is that anybody just you guys having fun cutting up? Or
It was scripted. It was
Yeah.
scripted, and I think the forever part. I think because they shot the old footage first. Remember with
Right.
Coach,
Right.
so they had him do that in the black and white scene, the cop. So I think they kind of threw that at Squints, at Chauncey. They were like, do the four, so it was funny forever.
what would you say, Brandon, were your favorite scenes?
I would say the 4th of July scene too was just a nice experience with the memories attached to it, and the pool scene with Squints and Wendy Peppercorn, of
Oh,
course.
yeah.
It was so cold. That water was
It
freezing.
was cold that day. A hot summer the whole time, and then that day it was just freezing.
And you can see it too because they must have just filled the pool because it was ice cold. And when Chauncey's walking to the diving board and he's on the diving board, his teeth are chattering.
Yeah, right.
You can tell how cold he is, man. But he's trying to
So
hide
that's
it.
like legit because he
It's
was
legit.
Yeah, he was freezing.
he was
man.
that cold. Oh my gosh! And did he screw up on purpose a bunch of times because she was hot?
A couple. He did a
Oh,
couple.
yeah.
He was a sharp little guy. I can't
Yeah,
lie.
he's not dumb. He's like, we need another take here because I didn't love that part of it. She was probably like 17 or 18 as
She
an
was
actor.
16, I think.
Was
What?
she that
Yeah, she
young?
was only 16 when she
Wow,
did, yeah.
well, that's weird to say. All right, maybe she wasn't that hot.
She was-
Maybe she was just a very responsible lifeguard.
I hope she had good grades. Tom Guiry, Brandon Quintin Adams are with us. 25th anniversary edition of The Sandlot is now available on Blu-ray, and they're in town. All-Star Weekend, a bunch of cool events with these guys. 4 to 7 p.m. Activities on the Diamond with military families. That's Friday, July 13th today at Nationals Park. And then 7 to 7:30, a Q&A with talent at Nearby Play Ballpark. One of my best buddies is a comic. His name is Rory Scovel, and he's starting to take off a little bit. He had a movie with Amy Adams, with Amy Schumer. And previously he was in The House with Will Ferrell, right? And we started together. And one of the things we asked him when he came on, like to promote that movie a little bit, was, you're funny. You know that. I know that. And everybody that's seen you. But you got to go into a scene with Will Ferrell and be funny, right? Like, that's crazy to think about. You guys, as kids, are doing scenes with James Earl Jones. You know what I mean? Like, you can just say, oh, that's James Earl Jones. That's James. That's an actor. That dude is as accomplished as anybody. And, like, just go into that experience as little kids where it's like, I'm just going to go do this scene real quick while he's, blind and talking about his dog or whatever. And it's a normal thing that day, or is it intimidating?
By the way, I watched that scene recently and weirdly got emotional. That is a great scene as
It
well.
is.
When he's talking to you guys, he's like, "Oh, George, George is there." Like, so good. But anyways, yeah, acting with a guy like that had to be crazy.
It was really cool, but he made it so easy because he was so easygoing and just a really nice guy. And we all knew that he was going to be on set that day. It
Right.
was like
was a big
it was a
deal.
big deal. But as soon as you meet him, all that would go away because he was just so down to earth and just so nice. So we made it
That's
easy.
kind of the cool thing about working with good actors like that. They just make it easy. It's like you're not even doing anything.
Speaking of actors, Brandon, how about singers? You were in a bunch of videos and a long form film with Michael Jackson.
That's right.
So you mean Smooth Criminal, Bad, Badder was, I guess, the project he put together after the fact. But you got to know him a little bit, I'm sure.
Yeah, I
That's
did,
crazy.
man.
That's amazing to me, man.
Michael Jackson was my hero. I mean, honestly, that's how I became an actor and everything. You know, when I saw Michael Jackson on, I think it was like the Motown 25 review when I was a kid.
How old would you have been for that? Because that was in the early
Like
80s, right?
4.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And I saw him moonwalk, man, and it just changed my life. You know, and I started imitating Michael Jackson, and from there it was like commercials, but it's, you know, how I kind of found myself as a performer.
Did
imitating Michael.
Did you have any semblance? Because at that point, you're doing videos with Jackson. You're doing Ducks, Sandlot, Ducks. I mean, these are smash movies for kids. Did you have like normal, hey, I'm going home and going to a movie with a friend, or were you an actor? Did you go to school? How did it work at that point?
No, I just kind of fell into it all. And, you know, I lived a very normal life, you know.
You did?
Yeah. Public school, you know.
So you would go to
Friends
school with your
outside.
buddies at a public school
Yeah,
as all these movies are in the theater.
yeah.
What was that like?
I would usually catch hell on the first day, and then, you know, then I'd be all right after that.
You had to have a lot of options for girlfriends in high school. I'm guessing both of you.
Not really.
No?
No.
They didn't love Scotty Smalls?
That's heartbreaking.
Not as much as they like Benny the Jet Rodriguez.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
He was better at baseball than you in the movie.
There's perks to being Smalls, but
That's not one of them.
Benny
only to
the
a certain
Jet.
degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Penny
they,
the Jet probably did pretty well.
Yeah. I
they
think he
love
did
Benny the Jet. They
Another
do.
Mighty Ducks crossover, by the way.
Exactly.
He came in as a guy who
Fellow
Luis
Duck.
Mendoza who couldn't hit the brakes and D2.
That's
Couldn't
right.
stop. Unbelievable. You had a question about video games or something.
Well, it's just because I'm a giant dork that's not popular among most social groups. But you also, Brandon, you have some roles in a couple video games doing voiceover type stuff.
Yeah,
That's a neat thing to fall into. Kingdom Hearts 2, massive smash hit, and a Final Fantasy game. That's not nothing, dude.
Which Final Fantasy?
Dissidia.
Nice.
Are you a gamer too, Tom?
Yeah, I like video games a lot.
How do you do it with kids? How do you balance it?
Well, I got the Switch.
So you go,
He
yeah.
plays the Switch. I'll play the Xbox, but he likes Roblox now, so it's like, I'm like, don't buy anything with this Roblox thing. It's like such a racket. But yeah, it's pretty much all me and my little guy do is sit around and play video games all day.
Yeah, I kind of Jedi mind tricked my wife a little bit. It's like, look, it's a Lego game for him. We're bonding together. It's quality time.
It's good, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's of course somehow it's still on, and he's on his iPad while I'm grinding away at something.
That's how it goes. But yeah, man, that's one of the only voiceover jobs I've ever nailed, and I don't know how I did it, but it worked out in the end, man.
I think if you can get on that train, you need to board that train.
It's a
That's
good
right.
train.
Or you
That's
just,
right.
it's kind of like radio, basically. You're just
Yeah.
talking into a mic, but you're getting paid for an extended period of time afterwards.
Right. Exactly.
Probably the way to do it.
Good
4 to
residuals.
7 today, activities over at the Diamond with military families, the Sandlot crew's participating in. And then 7 to 7:30 tonight, a Q&A with these guys and some of the characters at nearby Play Ball Park. So if you're down here in the area near Nationals Park, check that out. Who was the best and the worst baseball player of the Sandlot kids?
Oh.
Actual baseball talents.
I'd have to go with Benny. Was probably the best player. I mean, he was a little bit older too, wasn't he?
Yeah. Benny was good, and his brother played baseball in some kind of
Yeah,
level, too.
yeah. His brother was really good.
And he was kind of coaching us.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But there was
worst
no
player-
prerequisite to play, right? Like, no, they weren't like.
Well, they gave us like a couple week kind of a
camp.
baseball camp
Yeah.
type
Oh,
thing.
cool.
But I mean, we all could play. We could all catch and throw type thing. I played little league, and I think a lot of the other kids did too. I don't know worst player. It's
Baseball, whatever.
gonna be a rough one. Who do you think
Yeah.
the worst player was? Man?
Squint seems like
I'm
he'd
trying
be
to
the
pass
worst.
that on.
Say his name, Brandon.
Yeah, like-
That's like the only story that
Jumped
gets
right
written
in there.
down.
Benny was the best.
Brandon
What do you
could
think,
probably
Brandon?
answer that for you.
You want to write down a name right there? Okay.
Nah, man, you're not gonna do that to me.
What are you guys working on now? I saw you've got like 4 projects that are either post-film or coming out. You've been in, he mentioned a couple of them, but I love the Mystic River, Black Hawk Down, Revenant. What are you doing right now?
Right now, I'm filming a movie called 1973. Kind of like a historic piece type thing. Things that happened in 1973.
Huh.
I don't want to give too much away, but that's it right now. We were filming in New Orleans, and then we were supposed to film in D.C., but I think they're moving it to New York. So
Wow. And you live in the New York area now.
I live in Jersey, yeah, but I'm
Okay.
actually in the process of moving. I'm gonna move down south.
Cool.
You'll get a little bit more room. You know what I mean? It's just, and plus, it's so expensive in Jersey. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's very expensive. And you're out in L.A. still, Brandon?
I'm out in L.A., man. I'm an Angelino, and what am I work? I just did a film not too long ago called Reborn, and just trying to move to the next thing.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, it's been super cool to have you guys in studio.
It was
Appreciate
been
you
a lot of
cool to
stopping
be
through.
This
here.
is awesome,
yeah,
man.
Yeah.
25-year anniversary. And again, the film is available on Blu-ray, so go grab it. Thanks a ton, guys, and you made a heck
Thank
of a
you.
movie.
Have
Thank
fun in
you.
town, guys. Seriously.
Appreciate
you.
it.
Enjoy
been a
the
pleasure,
All-Star
guys.
festivities. Grant and Danny on the Fan.